Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, and welcome to another episode of How to Build. This is the series where we take a look at all of my For Honor characters and some of the For Honor characters from the campaign, and I basically teach you guys what it takes to build them, what all you need to do to make them into who they need to be, what effects to have, what executions to have, what outfits to use, what weapons to use, all that fun stuff. We basically go over it all here, and today it's going to be really cool. We're taking a look at a character that I've mentioned a whole lot, but I haven't really gotten the chance to really go into her story yet. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Nibbles. Yep, this is my shaman character, and I'm finally working on her legend video coming out sometime soon. So I thought, as kind of a, teaser before she comes out, I thought I'd go ahead and do her how to build video so you guys can see what it takes to build Nibbles. Now, I'll go ahead and preface here that I don't have all the pieces I want to fully make her, but I really do want to get this video out there because I'm really tired of waiting. I really want to get into Nibbles' story because it's a really good one. I like it almost as much as I do Ruth, so trust me, guys, when I say I'm very excited to get this one out there. So, the ultimate question, how do you make Nibbles? What do you have to do? All right, well, let's get started. First up, in terms of armor, you're going to want to do the Horkos Draugr helm. That is one you want to get. If you do not have the Horkos Draugr helm, then you can substitute it out for another one that looks very similar called the Halfred helm. Both look very good. Both have the hairstyle we're looking for. Our girl Nibbles, here's the thing. With a lot of the heads for Shaman, we see a lot of these shaved side heads. Not only do I personally find that look rather unattractive, but I also figured that since Nibbles' story is all about her being a wild girl who doesn't really have a place to call home, she wouldn't really have the time to really shave her head in that manner. So I thought that her having a full head of hair, but the kind that she kind of styles herself, makes a lot more sense. And you'll learn more about how she styles it and why she does it in the way she does in time. So you want to start with the Horkos Draugr helm. Next, you want the Regan chest. Now, this is one of those pieces where I said I would kind of like a different one, but I don't have it yet. What I really want is the Fisker chest, or was it? Here it is. The Miskun chest. Either one of those is what I was looking for. I really want the Fisker chest because I really like the way the pants fade into the overall torso bit. But I actually do think that if you don't have that, Regan chest is a good one to fall back on, mostly because of the gold lining. And again, that will tie into her story, but we'll get into that later. So again, you want the Horkos Draugr helm, the Regan chest, and for the arms, you want the Dothodgr arms, or Dothodgr arms. Now, the reason you want these is for another simple reason. If you look very carefully at the Dothodgr arms, you see what look like tattoos that have Japanese-style Oni on them. That is important to her story as well, and we'll get to that. I don't want to reveal too much, but you definitely want the Dothodgr arms, Regan chest, if you don't have the other one, and the Horkos Draugr helm. That is what you want for her overall armor, okay? Now, for her weapon, I use the Draconic Knots hatchet blade, Draconic Knots handles, and Draconic Knots dagger. Mostly because the color scheme works, but also because the style is going to tie in very well to who she is and what she believes in. I also think the overall design is just a really, really good one. Now, I thought about giving her one that was a little bit more rustic or archaic in feel, kind of like what I did with my Kyoshin character. But at the same time, I feel like this fits for her a lot better because if there's one thing that I will give away, Nibbles has a thing for shiny things. She likes things that are shiny or pretty. So I thought that her having a more pretty or ornamental looking weapon set would make a little bit more sense. So, to reiterate, Horkos Draugr helm, Regan chest, Dothodgr arms, Draconic Knots hatchet blade, Draconic Knots handles, and Draconic dagger blade. Alright? Awesome. So let's go into the rest of her. For traits, obviously she's going to be body type default 1. You can't change that. And for skin color, I go with the default skin texture. You can go the second or first one if you really want to, but I go with the default because it just works better. It looks a little bit more natural for her. All right. For ornament, you want the Deceitful Dragon, which you get for Tree of Life Elite outfit. The Deceitful Dragon. Now, actually, I will say this. I feel like this is probably the best one you could get for her, but if you had to get a different one, you could also get the Hammered Home ornament for her as well. Either one would work well. But for a piece of her story that I do think is important involving feathers, this one will be an important one. So Deceitful Dragon, I feel, is a good one to give to her. For material, you want the black material, which you get at Reputation 7 level 20. You want the black, although you can go the tar material too if you want to, but I went with the black. All right. Now for her outfit design. For her back, since this is going to affect the shield on her back, I got her the Circle Waves paint pattern, which you get at an outfit you get at Reputation 20. And I do not use a symbol, but I use the embossing runic compass, which you get at Reputation 24, level 20. I think that that makes it look very textured, very pretty, very nice. I thought that that was a good one to use, okay? So, hope you got that one. For left shoulder, I use the knotted spiral paint pattern, which you get at Outfit Reputation 26. And I use the twin howlers symbol, which you get at Outfit Reputation 20. So definitely, I like the twin howlers because it's a wolf motif, and you know, Shaman's a little bit of a beast, so I thought that that would fit. For right shoulder, I use the Dreams 2 paint pattern, which you get from the Nocturnal Raptor Elite outfit, or from getting Year 1 Heroes bundle. So you should have this one if you got the base game. And also, I use the Celtic Weave embossing, which you get at Reputation 22, level 20. It adds a little bit of texture, making it look like something you could rub your fingers on and you would actually feel like something there. It wouldn't feel smooth, it'd feel a little rigid, which I like the look for. So I thought that we would go with that for the arm. For the chest, I use the vertical line paint pattern, which you get at Reputation 16, level 8. No symbol, no embossing. The reason why is because I feel like the belt that she has around her middle here looks perfectly fine on its own in terms of customization, in terms of style. So I thought, why even add anything else? Let's just keep it simple and keep that vertical line paint pattern. And then for the standard, now I use the Visions of Kaidan, which you get from the Shadows of the Hitakuri bundle. And if you don't have that one, just about anything will work because the symbol itself is going to cover most of it, but you will want the Ravenous Valknut symbol, which you get from Rite of Champions bundle or from Scavenging the Battlefield. If you don't have this one, you can always use my own emblem, which I think is a good substitute. And if you want to learn how to make my emblem, someone already made a YouTube video on how to do that. But let's say you don't have either of those and you're not interested in making my emblem. Well, the next best thing I would offer is, here it is, the Moonlit Call, which you get from the Monsters of the Otherworld event week 2, which gives a more bestial look. And finally, if you don't have any of those and you're willing to spend a little bit of steel, I would also go with the Hell's Elegy 4, which is also a good substitute. These are all options that I would recommend, but the key point here is that any of these that you choose are going to cover up most of the paint pattern, so don't worry too much about the paint pattern in this. Although I would use Visions of Kaidan 1. I think that one works very well. And now for the last bit, what color palette am I using? What are the colors? Well, the color pattern for Nibbles is Crimson Tempest, which you got from Year 5, Season 3 Battle Pass. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Why that one? Well, for one thing, the color scheme I think really works well with the gold here, and I also think it's just an all-around good blood color for Nibbles to have, since, well, if you read her story, which I'll be releasing soon, she found herself covered in blood quite a lot. So I thought that would work. But let's say you don't have that paint pattern. The great thing about her outfit design is you can use just about anything, and the color scheme will work because of that stripe design, right? If you're looking at me going through all these, you can see that just about any will work very nicely for her. I've set it up in a way that makes it look very natural for her in any one that you want to do. So if you want to make your own Nibbles with a very specified paint pattern, you can definitely do that. But let's say that you want to make her look like my Nibbles. Well, you want Crimson Tempest too, but if you don't have that one, you can also go with Father of Understanding, or where was it? Here it is. You can go Heretic Disciple. Any of those would be good follow-ups if you do not have Crimson Tempest 2. But try to get Crimson Tempest 2 if you can. I think it just looks the best for her. All right, so with that out of the way, now let's talk about feats. Each of the feats I've chosen have to do with her story. I use stealth for my first feat because Nibbles spends a lot of her early life hiding and keeping herself hidden from other people, so she's learned how to be hidden from the radar, so she's learned how to be stealthy. For the second one, Flesh Wound, one thing that Nibbles has to deal with a lot in her story is she gets beat up a lot or attacked a lot, so she's learned how to take a hit, so she treats everything as a minor flesh wound and learns how to move on from it. I use the hand axe not only because it's a good feat for Shaman overall, but also because she actually uses a thrown axe in part of her story. And I use Nail Bomb for her final feat, not only because it's a great feat for her to use as a shaman, but also because there is a moment where she uses a bomb or like a little trap like this as a means of escape. So thought that all of that would be good for her to have in terms of her feat. So again, stealth, flesh wound, hand axe, nail bomb. Pretty good setup for her. Now for the executions. I use Seen and Done Roll. I think Seen and Done Roll works very well for Nibbles because quite often she finds herself making a run for it. And I thought it'd be kind of funny if she kind of rolled underneath the guard's feet, knocked him out, and then kept going. I use Deadly Hair. Now you might think this isn't an actual shaman execution. This is more of a joke execution. This has to do with her childhood. Again, I don't want to reveal too much. I don't want to give away too much about her childhood here. But there is a reason for it, trust me. Plus, it's just really funny. And then we have Bloody Appetite. I chose this one because in her adulthood, she does kind of act a bit like this. She does kind of get into fights like this. And yes, she does have the munchies. And then finally, I use Alpha Blot. And this ties into her childhood as well. I could see Shaman, or Nibbles in this case, as a child doing something like this, but in a very different context. So you'll see what I mean when I reveal the story. I hope you guys are excited because I'm very excited to share this. All right, next for emotes, I use Face Painter because she likes to be intimidating, and My Furry Beastie, which came out with the Heretic season. I like this one so much because, all right, I'll go ahead and reveal a little bit about Nibbles. When she was growing up, she spent a lot more time with animals than she did people, so she has a bit of a connection to forest animals, and in this case, it is a rat. So she has a friend who's a bunny, a friend who's a rat. You kind of get the idea. She's kind of more of an animal lover. For combat, I use At Your Service and Ground Pound, mostly because I don't really feel the need to get any of the others. They don't really fit her the way I'd like them to. For signature, I use Jungle Pal, because again, the animal connection. The snake here works very well. Although if I wanted to use a different one, I might use Brought Me to Life, just because I think that works so well for Shaman, because she's a biter. But I would also say I would use Ecstatic as well. Ecstatic kind of fits her goofy personality. And for effects, nothing. You don't need to use any effects for her. She's fine without them. All right, so that is pretty much everything there is to say about Nibbles. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so tell me in the comments, are you excited for me to share Nibbles' story? It's going to take a little bit longer to write than I'd like because I'm trying to find the right way to sort of do the tone and find the right kind of narration style I want to do. I already know what her story is, but I'm still working out the kinks on how I want to write it out, you know, because I always write it and then read it out to the audience like it's a story. So I'm really looking forward to the end. Nibbles looks confused by that, like, what? It's taking time? Yeah, don't worry, Nibbles. I'll get to you. I'll get to you, I promise. All right, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a lot of fun to work on, and I'm very excited to share Nibbles. I think she's excited too. I hope you guys will make Nibbles. Let me know in the comments if you plan to make Nibbles yourself, and if you do, I'd love to know about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye, Nibbles.